Y'all know what it is right here. Black Power Media. This is the Remix Morning Show. And I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Let me introduce you to your host. We got no other than Slow Mal Franklin. Kamal K. Franklin. And just made it to the party. Burn it down, Kim Brown. We are here. Pardon our lateness, but get ready for the greatness.
True. Kind of, it's hanging over today. It's hanging.
I don't know what's going on. Like 2 minutes ago, I had my bonnet on, and Ear Doctor said I looked like I was getting ready to make some grits. So I'm like, I don't know what kind of pony. I gotta throw it up in a ponytail. I can't do a messy bun. I know how to do all that. But
that's the pineapple. I like it. You know
or the sideshow Bob.
Okay, we go with that. I was trying to be nice. I ain't want to call you a clown.
Oh, nope. when you do clownery, sometimes the clown.
You can't just push it back.
I
like that. Back. That's better. You can see your face.
Word.
Yeah, you take care. Work that out.
That's what we doing.
Yeah. Well, you just gotta work that out, B. You gotta work that out. Oh, that's a lot up in there.
Hey.
Word. Welcome out to all those the first time watching the Remix Morning Show. This is how we do. We get it together.
Oh, stuck. It got stuck, B. No. Yeah, now. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah,
okay.
Make it go back. Yeah.
Look at that.
Forehead.
That forehead is giving. That forehead is giving.
I know.
5 head. 5.
Ethiopian forehead. It's a loving forehead.
It's giving 5 and 6 head.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to see that. You know what I'm saying?
Look how she do it. Oh,
what did she do? What did she grab it for?
I lost the earring.
It's going on your arm, right there.
There it is. Bam.
I thought she was grabbing her chest on. I was like, what are you doing grabbing the
pineapple dude? Pineapple Express. That's what we call it.
Let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys assist with your daughter's hairstyling at all? Like, do you braid or brush, or did you, Ear Doctor, when your daughter was of age, to have her hair brushed?
I did 2 strand twists. Yes, I did, and that was it. And now my daughter would not let me touch her hair.
Hell no. No, what for?
Yeah.
You need that bread, Dad. Send her to the salon.
Like, that's your job. Yeah. I've tried also, and then I get the never again. Even if she cries when Agathe does it, that's still better than anything I've ever attempted to do. She just doesn't let me. Yeah. And I'm disappointed. I feel like I can scrape that back. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
Scrape.
It ain't hard. You know what I mean?
And that's why you don't do the baby's hair, because you don't scrape the baby's hair. Kamal, you don't scrape it.
Hey, Kamal, all you do is just grab it, just like she did by her head, and just start pushing and mushing up, and then just wrap that band around, and you got the ponytail. You good to go.
Don't you gotta put some a little mousse or something that they make the sides stay down, right?
This 80 character said mousse.
Something.
Who are you, Johnny Depp? What is this, 21 Jump Street? What do you mean, mousse?
I don't. Whatever gel y'all use to slick it down in the sides, right?
You say product, yeah, 80
product.
Sure, product, yeah, I guess.
So Kim, are you into that the baby edges thing?
Yeah, you ain't got to loop around all the way here, like looped.
They be killing it with the toothbrush. Yo.
Too much. This is way too much.
It's a lot of skill and talent involved in that, of which I was blessed with none. So no, I don't do all the swirlies and all that, and. But I do have baby hairs, I guess, or edges. I think I got edges.
Yeah, that's what they call it.
Yeah, I got some edges.
Did you ever do any of the lace fronts or any of the wigs, anything like that?
When I was doing the traffic on Channel 2 News, I wore the worst wig on earth.
Can we pull that one up?
You gotta get a pic.
Oh man, I might have my proper professional shot, my headshot where I was wearing.
We gotta see this.
The worst wig on earth.
One of the breaks you gotta find.
Nah, I don't actually.
You don't.
I will not find it. In fact,
I gotta believe that if we do a little Kim Brown search, that old picture's gotta be on the internet.
Good luck searching Kim Brown in Google. Let me know what comes back. Let me know what happens when you type in Kim Brown in Google.
Google explodes, basically.
And you ever Google yourself, Kamal?
Yes, particularly I was looking for some story that I participated in. Yeah.
Okay. Any good? It was a good Google search.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a
Okay.
couple of like hits on whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'm a
Nice.
No
popular
hits.
dude. I'm a
No hits.
popular dude.
No hits on don'tdateemgirl.com.
No, none of that. None of that. None of that. Never that. More the opposite. More the opposite. More the opposite.
Oh yeah, you getting 5 stars out here, Kamal? Is that what you're saying?
I'm always a 5-star. You know what I'm saying? I've always been a 5-star.
Word.
I mean, I didn't stay too long back, but when I was around, I was around.
Oh,
Oh,
Lord.
you heard that? When he was around, he was around. Okay,
Right.
Tupac.
Dear
One pop.
Doctor,
What up?
what would your star rating be out here if your former partners and people you dated were to come together and say, you know what, Dear Doctor actually was a
He was a good dude. He just wasn't the right fit.
well, what's your rating? What's your out of
Oh,
5
Like a
stars?
2.
I would 5-star. I definitely.
You get how you gonna
5-star.
get? You don't get no 5-star.
Don't ask me then. Shit, what you expect me to? What you expect me to dumb down myself? I don't even like the word humble. How would I say 4 stars? No, 5 stars.
You don't like the word humble?
Nah, I don't like that word.
Oh, yeah, I got jokes. 5-star moose.
Well, and Kim, what would you say? The guys would say that you was a
1 star.
1 star.
1 star.
You were in a good date.
A date,
A
sure.
good girlfriend.
But, yeah, why not? But you know, I mean, you can't have
What do you mean?
these
Why not?
un-
You don't.
you got.
Have you
come on.
ever been in love?
in love
In
Oh,
love.
look at that. That's the question.
With someone not named Kim?
Yes, that would be yes. Without staring in the mirror, have you ever found anyone else to love?
Wow.
Yeah, no, I have loved. Now, to me, there's a difference between have I loved someone or loved someone's versus being in love. I don't know if I've ever been in love, but I've loved. But but there's limits. there's limits. Oh, for example, I've never loved someone so much that I wanted to have a baby. You know what I'm saying? Like I've not met that dude. Like me and that dude have not crossed paths. I can say that safely.
You had somebody on your mind all day, like you can't wait to see him though. That type of love.
At points, sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
Who ruins it? Do you? It sounds like you just. Are you like the non-commit? Are you the classic dude stereotype? You know what I'm saying? You like don't fall too much. You don't return the text.
Well, just because so I'm old now, so like I don't play them.
No, back in the day games when you was running them streets.
Oh man, yeah, a couple dudes had my mind. Well, by mind I mean body. By mind I mean they was laying some things correctly, sure, but but no, you can't. I don't love these hoes. Come on,
like my boy Stewie said, who ruined you? Who ruined you, Kim? What was the guy's name?
I told y'all this. His name was Bobby Brown, my father.
Oh, okay.
I told y'all this. His name was Bobby Brown, my daddy. Right. So yeah. So yeah. I mean, it's
what about now? Would you fall in love now?
No.
No.
I would love.
If you ever left the house and you went to a event or something. And
it's worse now.
It's worse now?
Yes, it's worse now. Because for one, what I've learned is, in their 40s, men don't really change that much from when they were in their 20s. A lot of them are still trying to run them same stupid, silly games. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So, like, who the fuck has time for that?
Kim,
not I.
I'm gonna find somebody for you.
Looking,
Doctor. I think the doctor's offering himself up. You know what I'm saying?
I think you need to relax.
Well, come on,
you come out to the event when we was in DC.
I don't do long distance. I told you that already.
Well, what's them kitchen skills looking like, Doctor? Let's talk about that.
There you go.
You already know.
I vouch for his kitchen skills.
Yeah, you already know they good.
Yeah,
I could
cook.
I
might date him if I was single.
Whoa, pause. I could cook. I could clean.
Look at that.
I could cook, I could clean. See, I had to do everything because my parents passed early, so I had to learn everything. So it was no wait for somebody else to do it, and I don't have no patience. So
Yeah, he can cook. He can cook. He made me breakfast.
You might be the kind of wife you're looking for,
You
Doctor.
make me breakfast.
I need you to pause because
you
it was
made me
breakfast.
breakfast.
It was breakfast made, and you came along and ate some. Don't say I made you breakfast.
I was there, and you offered me breakfast. Son.
You need to relax.
We had dinner the night before, and then in the morning you offered me breakfast. What? I don't know what's the problem. What's the problem here?
Whoa! Welcome to the Remix Morning Show. We're gonna take our first break right here because this dude is wilding.
That's our personal life here, Doctor.
Oh Lord!
Oh man!
Everybody making him breakfast. Lord,
man, this coffee right here has got me feeling right. All right, so we're gonna take our first break right here on the Remix Morning Show. This dude is wilding for the night. Let's go.
He all uncomfortable.
Yeah. What's good, everybody? Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. Make sure y'all hit that like button, that subscribe button, and all them buttons that's down there. I'm talking about the notification bell. I'm talking about the share. I'm talking about the, you don't see the Patreon button? That's right, because you got to go to patreon.com and drop some change on Black Power Media so we can keep this train going down the tracks. All right, so boom, what we going to talk about today? Let me change up the background a little bit just so I can get into that space to talk my talk. All right, so we just had another brother make his transition. Who are we talking about? No other than DJ Twitch, also known as Stephen Laurel Twitch Boss. He was a freestyle hip-hop dancer, choreographer, actor, television producer, television personality. In 2008, he was the runner-up of American version of So You Think I Could Dance. 2014, the show's conclusion. In 2022, he was featured on Ellen DeGeneres Show as a co-host. He was also featured in Ellen's Game of Games as a sidekick to DeGeneres. And he's been working with Disney and Disney fairy tale weddings and all types of stuff. So he's straight from Montgomery, Alabama. He went to Lee High School. Actually, I went to Jefferson Davis High School that was adjacent to it. We had beef, yeah. But anyway, yeah, so he was from Montgomery, Alabama. He studied dance performance at Southern Union State Community College in Alabama, and then wound up moving to California. He was pretty much out here getting his dance on, doing this, that, and the third in different types of movies. Like Blades of Glory, Hairspray, Step Up. He did all the Step Up, Stomp the Yard, Magic Mike. I mean, all the type of dance movies you could think of, he was in. So he also did a bunch of television too. Now, this brother just committed suicide after leaving behind his wife. He has a wife and he has some kids. Actually, so he just committed suicide. Now, a lot of people talk about suicide and say it's, mental health issues. I don't know. A lot of people also looked at this guy as a man-tan. A lot of people looked at him as a jigaboo. He would get out there and dance for Ellen and them and show them how to do all the steps. And, and it may be after getting that big check and everything, you kind of look at yourself and maybe start thinking about some things. So I don't know what happened to this brother. I actually hope more people that's dealing with mental health get the help they needed. So with that said, I'm going to take you back to our hosts on the Remix Morning Show and see what they got to say about it right here. Black Power Media. All right.
People saying the story is sus as if they don't believe that he killed himself or something.
He actually 24 hours before that he did a TikTok and was celebrating, having a good time, and then next thing you know, suicide.
9 years of marriage with his wife. Was I think one of his most recent TikTok pics.
Yeah.
It's sad. Wow. It's sad. I mean, because, from the outside looking in, you would think at 40 years old, a man who has achieved a certain level of success. I mean, he seemed to be doing very well. He had a family. why, why would this be a decision that he make? And of course, we'll probably never know, but very sad, but just a reminder that, suicides in this country are on the rise, and particularly among Black people. Suicides have been on the rise for the past 2 years, so I think it's a conversation that we can continue to press, because people are hurting out here, and you can't really tell. Like, as Black folks, we are conditioned to kind of keep our emotions to ourselves. We're not supposed to look as though we are going through it, right? We're supposed to put on a strong facade, and internally we could be dealing with all kinds of turmoil. So we need to have this conversation, y'all, because and even suicides are up amongst our youth too during the pandemic and since. So suicide's a big problem, and I don't know whether or not the method has been released. I'm not sure how he took his own life, but most of the gun violence in this country is people trying to commit self-harm. Yeah.
I ain't gonna front. I used to think suicide was a sucker way to go out, but then I started looking at deaths. Since I had so many deaths in my family, I was just like, people are scared of the next level. They don't know what's going to happen afterwards. And then sometimes we want to hold on to a person so much and don't realize, hey, it might be a whole better place than the one we complaining about right now. So who knows,
Yeah, I don't have any. I didn't know who dude was, to be honest. My daughter actually reported the news to me yesterday. But you just don't know. Obviously, based on what people's TV appearances are. Remember the guy, one of the last famous people, Anthony Bourdain, who had committed suicide, and people assumed just from his show that he must have been very happy and all the rest of it. And he was struggling with his own demons. And so I'm sure the same is true for this brother. So condolences to him and his family. It's a sad thing. And you're right, like, people don't talk about it. Most of us are trained, even if we have those thoughts, we're trained not to talk about it, not to discuss it. So yeah, we need to do more to have discussions and have help in places where folks can go if they want that support, if they need that support. So yeah.
Yeah. Last year I had my psychiatrist friend come on and talk about mental health in these times right now, especially in these holidays coming up. So I'll reach out to him and see if he can come back on, and I will catch you on the next break. Peace.
Thank you for that, ear doctor. So what? Yeah. Welcome everybody. Yeah, that was a rough one to see that. Like, and it's especially because of his age. Like, I feel like he's in the similar age range as me, and it's like, god damn, people get to middle age and they start experiencing, I don't know if a middle age crisis, or it was whether or not it was something deeper personally happening in his life. It's like, man, it was a tough thing to hear break on the news yesterday. And I didn't really watch Ellen's show, but I would catch it from time to time. It would just be on. And he was really good. Like, I mean, what's your doctor was calling him? What do you call him? A man tan?
Man tan.
Get out there and dance. Okay, but the brother could dance though. I mean, he wasn't just out there, doing the Sandman. You know what I'm saying? He was actually out there doing some good steps. And as a personality, rating him as a host, etc. Yeah. Really good, exceptional, very engaging. Would ask great questions. I thought he was a very good media personality. So.
Again, this is nothing about him personally because I don't know his situation, but you find a lot of these folks when they feel like their career is either it's not picking back up, they didn't get that next gig, one thing didn't lead to another, and that really affects them mentally or psychologically, and then they decide to do something about it, whatever, or if they reached a certain height and then you can't reach it again. Somebody had mentioned Don Cornelius. I remember that he had committed suicide, but I couldn't remember if they released a reason why, whatever. But
he was ill, wasn't he? Gosh, I had totally forgot that Don Cornelius.
Yeah, I can't remember what the rationale. We should find out, and so that might be an interesting story. But like somebody who, at least again, outside looking in, they've had a really successful career. You assume they made lots of money. Whatever their interest is, they fulfilled. And then at some point, it's like, what's next? And maybe they can't find what's next. And sometimes people who decide to do that kind of stuff.
What
So,
was the
yeah.
name of that sister? And I apologize, Chad. You probably know her name, but she took her life in New York City. She was a pageant winner. Was she former Miss
Oh,
USA or
yeah,
Miss
yeah, yeah.
America? Was an attorney. Was a entertainment correspondent. I mean, a high flying, high achieving young lady. I think she took her life at like 30. Like
Yeah.
something really, really wild. The pressure, man, our people are out here under pressure, even at the top levels, at the lower levels. Like
Yeah.
everybody is feeling the pressure of the expectations of performing under capitalism and trying to survive under capitalism and trying to meet these very unrealistic expectations. And not everybody's able to handle it.
True. All
That's why you
right.
gotta
So
be like me and Kamal. Me and Kamal ain't got no fucks to give.
no,
We
you gotta
got-
be more like
Dog, I'd be
Okay.
sad sometimes, but I'd be like, I don't really give a fuck, so whatever.
It's almost like my mission is to stay around longer than everybody else.
Out of
I can
spite.
say some shit. Yeah. Out of spite. Out of spite, I'm going to be around. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna be
That's how I
elderly
think
out
it
of
is.
spite. Yes.
Mm.
So I think it's time that we slap at that map it up.
Slap the map.
Welcome, everybody. It's the Remix Morning Show on Black Power Media, the livest morning show that you can find in the YouTube streets.
Yup.
We appreciate y'all coming through and supporting us. Of course, the Remix Morning Show airs here on BPM Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday mornings, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern. Shout out to everybody that's checking in with us this morning. Big up to all our people on the West Coast coming through on the early tip. We are definitely thinking about everybody that is impacted by this big weather event that is moving across the country that dumped feet of snow in Northern California through the Rockies, spawned deadly tornadoes down in Louisiana and through the Mid-South and making its way towards the East Coast now. So if you are in the path of this weather event, please be safe. As safe as you are able to be. Try to stay warm. Look out for your people and all that. So it's Kamal Franklin. I'm Kim Brown. The ear doctor is around here pushing the buttons, making everything work. Kamal, we got some stories to tell the people them this morning.
We got some stories. I'm going to start off with our story. I left early yesterday.
Yes.
I don't have any video of the press conference, so I'm just going to give a little description, and I'll give you the headline from the press conference that they decided to run in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
Okay. What's the headline?
Here we go.
The
Here we go.
AGC, sponsored by the Atlanta Police Foundation.
And bam, Atlanta Training Center protesters charged with domestic terrorism.
Oh, shit.
So not untrue as a headline, but, it could have been, activists dispute charges or argue against the charges or anything about what the press conference was about. As you can see, we have some community movement builders. So you may not be able to, so small. Like that's me standing in the background. That's our organizing director, Jasmine Burnett. And here are other supporters and folks who've been working on the issue. We had a few more people off to the side who didn't want to be on camera. But basically, this was at Walani Park, the park in which the forest is going to be cut down. The police have totally blocked off entryway into the park. So when we got, we had scheduled, or the folks who scheduled the press conference, and then I got there driving and being like, how are we going to get in here? This thing is all blocked off. They had a whole command center that was stationed, at least 20 to 25 police cars. We walked by the barricades, and then they stopped us and it was like, well, this is closed off. They did the whole officer friendly. It wasn't like static at that point, at that particular point. It told us at this point was closed off and that they couldn't let us stay here. And so we had to reroute our press conference. They tried to hem in the reporters at a different location. We finally got them to where we needed them to be. And then we did our press conference, had several speakers, but we specifically, the folks who were arrested in the forest, about 5 people who were arrested and charged, They were all folks who were sitting in the trees. They had created platforms or tree houses for them to be in the trees and to try to stop the bulldozing for when it was eventually scheduled for. The police came upon them, fired rubber bullets at them, destroyed the encampment, destroyed they did a whole kitchen area for folks to come, destroyed everything, got the folks out the trees, and then charged those folks who offered no resistance, who did nothing to them, with a domestic act of terrorism because they were in the tree. Yeah.
Is domestic terrorism, are those state charges or are those federal charges?
State charges. These are state charges. And so the basic idea is for domestic terrorism charges are really broad, and anything that someone does as currently applied. So if you do something to stop the state from engaging in an activity, you could potentially be charged with domestic terrorism. So just think about how broad that means. That's everything from civil disobedience, direct action, right? Obviously, what they're trying to get at is, and what the media tried to focus on, is that the acts of graffitiing up cars and burning vehicles that were trying to get in to start cutting down trees, which some of that has taken place, which I'm fully in support of. We can talk more about that. They were trying to get at that, but it's like, that's not what these folks had done or were doing. So for you to even suggest that they somehow should be charged with an action of that nature, when they weren't caught in the quote unquote act of doing that, there's no suggestions that these particular people who were arrested had any involvement in anything to do with that. So these people were simply sitting in trees. And of course, this is meant to bring a chilling effect on the organizing and activism that is happening around Stop Cop City. Our feeling is that they're trying to make a big push because of the continued media pressure that all the organizers have been able to put on since this stuff started. It has continued to ramp up. Folks have not stopped. And so now we're dealing with we have a solidarity fund. I'll put some links in the chat later on, but we have a solidarity fund, a bail fund for these folks. They're going to get attorneys. And we're going to work with them, of course, because what we know is that the police are trying to criminalize, again, these activities, and the corporate media is giving the police all the cover that they need and or want by covering the story in a certain way.
Check your email. I found the 11 Alive news package that covered, I'm not sure if it was the press conference, but the headline that they had on YouTube was 5 arrested and charged in domestic terrorism incident. So, and I haven't watched the package, so I'm curious the slant that 11 Alive News would put on this story. This just sounds barbaric coming from the police and from the Atlanta Police Department and from the governing officials over this, because they are tacitly endorsing these tactics by the police to overcharge people. Domestic terrorism, really? Because people sat in cars, sat in trees, and even if they did burn a vehicle, okay, what's that? Destruction of property, whatever. But it ain't terrorism. You know what I'm saying? Like not even close. But I just have so much admiration, Kamau, for you, for your comrades in Atlanta. I mean, it takes a lot of fortitude to go up in there and sit in a tree for hours upon hours on end to simply protect the tree, right? And the actions that the Atlanta Forest Defenders have taken, like I covered them on my show on Burn It Down with Kim Brown, when they went to the head of one of the contracting companies tasked to build Cop City. They went to his house in Alabama and tore his shit up. I was for that. I supported that action totally, because if the trees cannot have peace, then you, rich, privileged white person trying to tear down the forest, you too shall not have peace.
Really quickly, and they never define the actions of cutting down the forest, of the police violence against our communities, as just that, as violent, right? Or as violence. It's only the acts of the protesters, and like you said, all praise is due particularly to the forest defenders, because I'm not living in a forest. But they have been doing a fantastic job of keeping the energy, the emotion, the resistance alive to stop this from being built. And so all praises goes to them, because I think they've been doing just a fantastic job of doing this work. And it's not over. Even though the encampments have been torn down, it doesn't mean that the struggle or this fight stops here. So let me play the video.
Ongoing tension at the site of a future Atlanta police training facility. We've seen more law enforcement there over the past 24 hours as protesters, they continue to fight back against what they call Cop City.
The people that they have been arresting and targeting and attacking have been engaged in nothing but peaceful civil disobedience.
Wednesday, protesters shouted slogans at police and riot gear on property near the site. This week, 5 protesters were arrested over clashes at the encampment off of Key Road. They have been charged with domestic terrorism, among other crimes.
That's it. Look, Kamau was standing there with the mug. I seen you, bro. It's a posted up mug.
I was moderating the press conference. That was my job.
Wonderful.
And the folks and I should say also the folks who spoke did excellent jobs relating points that again, you got to be proud of in Atlanta, a lot of the organizers and activists from different ideological backgrounds, different communities who have come together to make this a fight that we're all involved in and together with. And so I was proud to be a part of that crew and that group, because including our folks from Community Movement Builders, because folks were not intimidated by the media. They were not intimidated by the types of questions that they were receiving. Folks really did a good job of standing up and pushing back against the corporate narrative that's being offered.
Expand on that. What do you mean by folks from different ideological backgrounds coming together? We got conservatives.
No. Well, I mean, we got everything from civil rights type folks, to anarchist folks, to revolutionary nationalist folks like us. We got folks who are they just heard about the story about Cop City and don't want it to be built, and so just the regular community folks. We have a whole slew of people from different ideological backgrounds. People consider themselves communists, socialists. So that's what I mean by that. Yeah, not the conservatives, no. But other folks along the line of a left spectrum who, in spite of differences, either differences of opinion about how things should be run, again, ideological structures, who formed a, relatively speaking, loose coalition of organizers and organizations, which has kept this battle going, including base building, door knocking, again, civil disobedience, demonstrations, town halls, media events, you name it, we've done it, to struggle against Cop City.
So what's the status of the site as of right now? You said the encampments have been torn down. Is there a perimeter around the construction site or the proposed construction site? Are people still able to access where they had been previously protesting?
There's fences that are, let's say, cover, in my estimation, about half of the area, or that was already there, not newly built. And then there now are police stationed in different places to try to stop folks, block roads and everything else. But it's a place where you can slip in. You can slip in a lot of ways to the forest. So again, this is a big forest. It's probably the biggest forest left that's connected or close to Atlanta. So there's a lot of entry points. There are folks who actually are still in the forest. They just don't have the encampment that they once had because it was torn down. And so there's going to be a rally, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be this weekend. And again, I'll drop that flyer in the chat or bring it up later on. So there's going to be actions that are, again, continuing both outside the forest and I'm sure still inside the forest at some point. And some organizers and activists may just rebuild. So the struggle is ongoing, even though this has been a major action by the Atlanta Police Department and DeKalb County Police Department and Sheriff's Department. So the action, though, the actions that they've taken have not deterred people from continuing to resist Cop City in a whole bunch of different ways.
I gotta say, I'm very concerned for the activists there, because for these charges of domestic terrorism to be applied is a big overcharge. But the Atlanta, is it the district attorney down there? I'm not sure if it's a city or if it's one of the counties, but whoever's been charging all these rappers with RICO cases, right? Like I could easily see this domestic terrorism thing, them trying to ratchet it up to the point to try to send a message that, hey, the more y'all get involved, the more y'all might be caught up in something bigger legal wise. Does that make sense? Am I making sense here?
Oh no, totally. We think the fact that they brought these charges were an intimidation tactic, right? The very fact that they decided to charge a domestic terrorism to people sitting in trees, we think is really meant to have a chilling effect on organizing and activism around this issue. Just as you said, like just as bringing RICO charges against rappers is meant to having a chilling effect. Half the time, it doesn't matter if they can even make the charges stick with a good lawyer. Hopefully some of these charges will go away. But that is their point. Their point is now to show that they're the bully on the block, that they're the gang on the block, everything from the police to the local district attorneys to potentially even the feds, because our background information tells us that there's even been federal investigations into what's happening. So this is all about them trying to make sure that they build this cop city, again, trying to make sure that they can show us that they're the ones in charge. And again, they jammed this through people's throats. It wasn't like any town halls that the city council was required to have, but did not have in terms of pushing this forward. At one point, this was just a handshake deal between the city council, the Atlanta Police Foundation, and the police department. And they didn't expect any pushback because, well, let me put it like this. They did expect pushback, which is why they went about it the way they did, which was to sort of secretly try to make this happen. And once it found out, any survey that's been taken or registration of folks' opinions or views on this, any polls have always come out that upwards of 60 to 70% of folks, once they hear about what this is, what this apparatus is, the military hardware that they're about to use, they're going to have a Black Hawk helicopter, a landing pad, the towns that they're building, the explosive devices that they're going to be using, the military grade weaponry that they're going to be practicing with. No one is for this. This is right next to a Black community. So the folks are not for this, but the city is for it, right? The Black mayor is for it. The Black, white, and everything other city council is for it. Obviously, the police are for it. So this is something they're pushing down folks' throat. They're spending $90 million to get built. And it's something that's going to continue to do harm to our community because we know it's going to be used against the organizers and activists that helped start the big push around George Floyd and other folks who were killed here during the uprisings, and Black folks, right? Black folks. 90% of the arrests of in the city of Atlanta are Black folks. So they know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing.
Is there anybody in an elected position that is against Cop City that has come out on the record, stood with the activists, stood with you all, and said that, hey, I'm an elected official, but I'm not for this? Anybody?
There's a couple of elected officials. In fact, we were able to support pushing out the sponsor of the bill, who is the city council from the area that we do work in as community movement builders. So that was a big victory. And we got the new person who came in. They voted against Cop City. Well, they publicly stood against Cop City. However, no elected official has really done the job of being in the streets, being at press conferences, putting out public statements. They've taken it as a done deal. And their claim that they would stand with us if they came back and asked for more money, they being Atlanta Police Foundation, they said that the 90 to 60 million that they raised plus the 30 million the city has already given, and the lease of the land. If they're saying if they come back and say they want more, then they're at least claiming that they're going to stand with the organizers and activists and vote against it. But up until this point, this has really been an organizer-driven campaign, and that has some positives and some negatives. In that, it hasn't turned into a Black Rock, right? Where folks are out and you've got
Standing Rock?
Say it again.
Standing Rock?
Thank you. I'm so sorry. Standing Rock. It hasn't turned into a Standing Rock where we have organizers coming in from across the country en masse. We've gotten some media attention, of course. Every now and then we get a story that's out but it hasn't turned into a Standing Rock situation. And I think that's what's going to need to happen in order to block this. There are like the original native tribes have expressed interest. They've come. They've, obviously they were moved off the land and are no longer in Atlanta, but some have expressed interest in coming back and try to claim the land. Getting more organizers and activists around the country to come and do some pilgrimages here for 3, 4, 5 days at a time, or even weeks at a time, is probably the kind of pressure that we ultimately need in order to get the city to stop this. But this is, again, its good points have been, as stated earlier, the fact that people have united, have not given up, have kept the pressure on for over 1.5 years, 2 years to try to stop this and delay this, and has actually gotten corporations to back out of supporting this. Because the other part of this is that the Atlanta Police Foundation raised this money from corporations, the national corporations, who no more than a year later were claiming that Black Lives Matter, but a year after that now are standing tall with trying to build a huge military complex that's going to do nothing but kill Black people, which is what started the protest against the police in the first place, was them killing Black people. So these corporations have decided to kick in with the Atlanta Police Foundation. Again, the organizing has gotten some of these corporations to pull out, but still more need to be targeted, and we need to get more of those folks to pull out also.
I would like to see an organization to join your coalition. I'm thinking of the Sierra Club. Now, I know before everybody in the chat freak out, I know what the Sierra Club is usually about. It's that white bougie, conservation, but always focused on predominantly white spaces. Ben Jealous, you know who Ben Jealous is. He used to run NAACP. He was the governor, the Democratic nominee for governor here in Maryland several years ago. Anyway, he's the new head of the Sierra Club. Did you know that?
No.
And I think, which I think was an interesting selection to make Ben jealous. But hey, it's a good opportunity for a group like the Sierra Club to hopefully shake off their racism and get involved in what is also an environmental justice issue and a racial justice issue. This would be a good opportunity for them to maybe put whatever muscle or influence they have to join the coalition of trying to get Cop City stopped, because this is going to be harmful for not only Black people but harmful for the forest. And Atlanta needs that forest. Atlanta needs that canopy to remain, because it's what do they say? It's a heat something. Fuck, never mind. It has a lot of urban heat. I can't call the phrase, but
I don't usually emphasize the climate disaster that cutting down this forest will be. But you're right, and that's been something again that's been tagged on to. Not only do we have the idea that the police are building a fortified military operation, again, the largest training center that will be in the country, the joint training with the Israeli police. Not only is that part of the story, but of course, the other part of the story is the fact that over 100 acres of this forest is designated to be cut down. And again, during these times, that forest does so much to protect the environment, and that's about to be lost because the city officials believe that the police need a playground to make them feel better about themselves after the loss of trust, and a great loss of trust because of all the organizing that was done after the murders of Black people. This is nothing but a gift to the police to make them feel better. It has nothing to do with fighting crime. It's nothing to do with better training. This is all about here's a playground, a city, all your own, that you guys can feel like you own, and you're respected, and it's your living quarters and the rest of it. That's all this is about. This is just a giveaway. They already got a training center. They can spend that money to fix that up if they're so in need of some kind of new training center.
And the after effects of deforestation, development and developers really don't care. But I mean, you have a greater chance of flooding. Every weather event will be exacerbated and made worse when you cut down these old growth forests. And as we're seeing in the Amazon, man, like these forests are thousands of years old, hundreds. I mean, you cannot replace this readily, right? So once it's gone, it's gone. So Kamau, I'm so proud of you and all the activists there, the tree sitters, the forest defenders, people that are saying, fuck this, man. This is wrong. This is wrong on many, many levels. This is a crime against not only man, but nature as well. And it must be stopped. So thank you. Thank you to community movement builders and all the associated groups that have been working to make sure that this is stopped. And can you drop the links for the support funds? Because no, we need them folks to be not guilty of domestic terrorism. Get the fuck out of here. That's the bullshit, Kamau. Like, are the Oath Keepers being charged with domestic terrorism? Are the Proud Boys being charged with domestic terrorism when they are actually the ones literally tearing up shit, tearing up government shit, no less? They're not doing anything noble as sitting in trees and trying to protect the forest. So nah, these domestic terrorism charges must go.
Yeah, so here's the site. I'll drop this in the chat. It's a simple, straightforward stopcop.city. So you can see one of the rallies and demonstrations, folks talking about what Cop City is, Stop Cop City website, and let me see. I'm going to put up the Atlanta Solidarity Bail Fund in the chat for folks, and that'll be if anybody wants to donate money for bail purposes. That'll be the place to donate the money. So give me a second to find that link. And then I'll put that in the chat for folks and come back to it and let folks know that if they want to support with direct resources for the bail fund, they can do that by giving money there. So yeah, I'll drop that in a second.
Boom, 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 bap. That's what's up. Is it time for a break?
Apparently not. My man, he's is he in the bathroom again? Is he in the bathroom?
Close the door, Ear Doctor.
But I can smell all the way from here.
Yeah, that's wild. The fact that you get charged terrorism for trying to protect the forest. That is
sitting in a tree, Ear Doctor. Sitting in the tree. Terrorism.
Oh man.
It's terrorism.
It's like the robots are coming to take over. This is like what's that Arnold Schwarzenegger flick? Terminator, for real, man. They coming to terminate everything, make it all robots, no organic life or nothing. But yeah, that's what it is. So while he gets all that together, we're gonna do is take a quick break right here on the Remix Morning Show. Yeah. All right, what's good, everybody? Welcome out. Make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Right here, what we do is we like to give artist spotlight on different people that help the culture make it what it is. First, I wanted to do a little quick hip hop news. First of all, we got, as you know, Gunna, YSL, Young Thug, and them was charged for RICO. What happened is Gunna just got free from prison after taking a plea deal in the YSL RICO case. Yeah, so he's out of jail now. So big up to him. Another thing that's going on right now is the whole case with Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez. It's a lot of stuff going on in this case where we talking about Meg coming out saying Tory didn't do, she lied about what happened. Another person in the car saying that they're pleading the fifth and Tory didn't do it. And it's a bunch of stories swirling around. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen in this case also. But what I wanted to do is get to an artist spotlight. And who did I want to talk about? Actually brought her up yesterday. Let's talk about my homegirl from Trenton, New Jersey. That's right, Danielle Spencer, also known as D. Thomas on the sitcom What's Happening. Now, the sitcom ran from 1976 to 1979, and she was best known for "Ooh, Raj, I'm telling Mama." That's right, that was her line right there. She would later come back out on What's Happening Now after that went down. But like I said, she was born in Trenton, New Jersey. Now, did y'all know that What's Happening Now was loosely based off the film Cooley High? That's right, off Cooley High. That was one of the best movies ever. But what happened is she had some back problems and different things like that, which caused her to get out of acting for a while. She got in a car accident with her stepfather and wound up getting out of acting for a while, started taking up being a veterinarian. She actually went to school in Tuskegee, Alabama, to learn how to be a veterinarian. She did that, and she's still doing it to this day. She also stood up for different things like breast cancer awareness, which she had for a stint in 2014. But I just wanted to give it up to this sister. As you know, she's done a couple films, As Good as It Gets, Roger Rabbit, and The Crucifix. But what happens is she also did a bunch of TV, like What's Happening Now, The Brady Bunch Hour, Special Treat, and Days of Our Lives. That's right. So I just wanted to shout out this sister, give you a little hip hop news and what's going on. And that is what it is. From that to that. Big up to Danielle Spencer. All right, now let's get back to the Remix Morning Crew. You know how we do. All right. Yeah.
One of the most iconic characters out of the Black 20th century television lexicon, D. Thomas.
D.
Queen Snitch. I mean, the patron saints of little sisters everywhere. I'm gonna tell mama.
Yeah,
and we know you don't want mama to get told because somebody's getting a whooping, somebody getting a beating, and we don't celebrate that now. But I mean, sometimes you would celebrate if your sibling got a beating and you didn't, dog.
Like, was she like the first black daughter on TV besides Lionel? What's Jefferson's daughter's name? Yeah, I don't remember her name neither.
No, the Jeffersons didn't have a daughter; they had a son.
Their neighbors had a daughter that Lionel was hooked up.
Oh, was that before Thelma?
But that was
supposed.
Thelma. Thelma was the first.
Thelma.
Yes.
I don't know if she was the first, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
This is like an 8-year ago picture. Of what's happening in Crew.
Look at that crew right there. Ain't that something, man? I used to love that show, boy.
I know.
Best theme song. Who famously composed that theme song? Is that a Quincy Jones original? Who did the theme song?
I feel like it was. Like, I mean, Quincy was the main producer at that time, so who knows? I know the chat room is gonna look that up and let us know for sure, though.
And before you go, so let's talk. I mean, we had the story in the run sheet, but the whole Meg Thee Stallion.
He's like, I was hoping y'all didn't bring this up, but
I don't know enough about it, so I'm gonna bring up the story here, and then we can do some quick commentary. You stay on for this one, Doctor.
Yeah, it's a
so
lot.
Just the background. Somebody, as I bring the story up, you were saying so. Obviously, I'll just start with what I know.
Yeah.
So that was a man. They were in a car together. They got into a fight. He kicked out the car or something like that. These are real rough notes. And basically shot her in the foot. If I'm not mistaken, that's
what they say.
But now
that they on trial and stuff.
But let's be clear. Let's talk about what's not in dispute. It's not in dispute that she was shot. Okay.
Oh no,
someone took a gun and shot her in her body. Okay. So that's not in dispute. Are we agreed on that? Like that's not in dispute.
Yeah, we never said that.
Okay. No, I thought what I'm suggesting is I thought she told the police, or she said, or the story was that her boyfriend, who I'm assuming was Tory Lanez at the time, was the one who shot her. Now, you're saying that is he on trial for that shooting?
Yes, that's why he's on trial.
Is she now? Okay. Y'all can take over because I'm just trying to.
I don't know what the fuck is happening. Let's fill in the holes. Let's fill in the holes because I'm sure a lot of people are not following very closely to this, and maybe some people are. So the questions that you ask are probably going to fill in holes for other people. So what are your questions, Kamal?
So is she now not testifying that he was the one who shot her? Is that part of what the story is?
No, she did testify that he shot her. I think it's in question whether or not the other person who was with them that night, another woman who was Meg's friend at the time, I'm not sure if she's testifying to that because apparently the friend's hand, what's the friend's name, y'all? It starts with a K. Is her name Kelsey or something?
Kelsey, yeah. She's saying she's pleading the fifth now. Like she don't want no part of it. Like, and she said that Tory didn't do it. So it's a lot going on in this trial. Is like, what happened in this car? So
she suggests she's covering for Tory. for
Jeez.
whatever reason.
I mean, when you plead the fifth, ain't you covering for yourself?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying. And then
You don't want to give any evidence that's going to incriminate you.
I ain't gonna put nothing out there because I don't know what's going on. I'm just gonna wait and see how this trial rolls out and see if who's telling the story the best. Because
most of us believe that he shot her, though, right? I mean,
a lot of people believe it.
I mean, she said he shot her.
Saying. Yes, and the reason why Meg claims that her story changed, because what she told police the night of the incident is not what she's saying now. She said either that she had stepped on broken glass or that she had gotten injured a different way besides being shot. And the reason that she says now that why she gave that initial false story is because they were surrounded by LAPD. There was a chopper above with a spotlight, and given the events that had somewhat recently happened surrounding not only George Floyd, but Black people get shot and killed by the Los Angeles Police Department every single day, by and large. She did not want to endanger Tory or anybody else that was there because she was afraid of the police, which to me sounds quite plausible and a very reasonable assessment. And even in her injury, she was still looking out for that nigga. She didn't want the police to fuck him up. You know what I'm saying? So even in after surviving being attacked, she was still trying to protect him from cops, which to me says a lot.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the discourse that I'm seeing on social media, everybody wondering about who she slept with, was she sleeping with him? Well, she says she wasn't messing with him, but it turns out now she was. And it's who she was sleeping with does not really play a part in who fuck shot her. She was still shot. I think it plays everybody at the party. What has that got to do with her being shot?
I think it plays on the fact of should we believe her? Because at first she says she wasn't with the baby. She says she wasn't with Tory. And both of these have come out as lies. So it's like, who is telling the truth here?
But this was a close car. I mean, this wasn't like a lot of people in the car. There's only a few people who could have shot her from the car. And if she was having an argument and she knows dude had the gun, I mean, it sounds reasonable to me too, that at first maybe it's like, I don't want no smoke. I'm trying to protect dude. I just want to go home. I want to forget about it. I'm not trying to get no charges. I don't want no publicity around this. It's going to fuck up my career. All that's going through the young girl's head. And then later on, it's like, I mean, this dude actually shot me in the foot. I mean, and so there's no dispute that someone who she was riding with shot her in the foot. The only dispute is who did it. And she's clearly saying, look, this dude is the one who shot me. I saw it. Obviously, I was a victim of it. And so all fingers point to this or whatever. It makes, and then everybody else in the car, it sounds like other folks are potentially trying to protect him because maybe their bread is buttered on that side or that's their boy or whatever it is. But I think the benefit of the doubt here has to go to her in terms of like I mean, there's no dispute about who shot her. It could only be 3 or 4 people who were with them in the car. And she's literally saying, that motherfucker shot me. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not, I agree. I don't know what all the who she slept with baby talk and all that kind of stuff has to do with anything.
It has to do with it because bitches be lying, and that's the bottom line, right? Like a woman can't tell a story about anything because then everything that she said is discredited and throw it out the window. I don't blame sis for. Have you seen this nigga Tory Lanez? If I had slept with her, I wouldn't be claiming that nigga either. You know what I'm saying? Like, you seen the baby? Like, come on, that's Megan Thee Stallion. Megan, I mean, I don't blame her for distancing herself about who that she had sexual contact with these guys because they look like gremlins. So I don't blame her for trying to subtract those bodies. I don't blame her at all. But what it comes back to is that Black women are just not believed. Like, we could be shot, we could be victimized, we could be targets of violence, and if there was not stark video evidence showing that very clearly, we will be disbelieved. This woman has bullet fragments in her feet, and niggas are online calling her a liar. Like, it is wild. Like, women could just be harmed out here any which kind of way, and we still have to try to prove our humanity and that we are worthy of not only people's compassion, but of their belief, of being believed, period. Like, this is a very sad state of affairs amongst a particular segment of our community. Just watching Megan be torn to shreds because she lied about who she slept with. Well, she didn't lie about them bullet fragments in her feet. She's not lying about the nerve damage that she suffered. She's a dancer, for God's sakes, on top of being a rapper. I mean, this could have really seriously ended her career. But it's a
Does
perfect
anybody know
example.
if there's a lawsuit?
No,
Is she
I'm
suing him?
not sure.
We don't know yet.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
She
I'm not
also-
making any speculations. I'm just gonna let this case ride out and see what comes all out of it.
I
So
know,
we
but
gonna
there's
see.
not really a speculation to be made. She was shot. Did she
Yeah,
shoot
he shot.
herself?
He shot at me. Come on. He
Did she shoot
I'm
herself?
gonna wait till it come out because there's a lot of times we'll say something.
Ain't
and
nothing
then
more
in the-
gonna come out.
in
It's
the
either
late-
gonna be guilty or innocent. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, and then
so-
you gotta it's either you're gonna agree with the jury or not agree with the jury.
I'm here to present the story. I don't know who did what. We're gonna find out later, and then we're gonna be
Yeah, we do.
saying
We
what.
know that she was shot. We
I didn't
can
say she
that.
wasn't shot.
No, who
Nobody.
shot
I
her?
just said who shot. I don't know if it was playing around with a gun, who did it, or what. We gonna find out though.
Oh, is
Well,
that
that's
part of
a-
it? Are they claiming that she shot herself that she did it herself
Oh,
too?
So what the dispute is, Kamau, is
Oh.
that both Tory Lanez and Megan's friend Kelsey both tested positive for gunshot residue. So that is
Oh,
what brings about
suspicion of who.
shot
Mhm.
her.
Who
It-
shot.
that's what makes it in dispute. But
Yeah.
gunshot residue, you don't necessarily have to be the one holding the gun. If you are in proximity of a gun being fired, gunshot residue will get on you
come off,
also.
okay.
So like the fact that they both tested positive for gunshot residue to me is not a smoking gun, so to speak. But
You
it's
did a
just
couple of
really
puns here.
sad.
That Um,
You said
so,
what?
and I said you did a couple of puns here earlier. You said
Right,
let's
right.
get to the that says fill in the holes, and people caught up. But
Oh,
you
grow
didn't do it on
up.
purpose. You didn't do it on purpose, but it was quite pun like. So my last question on this then. So was this those three in the car, or was there somebody else in the car too?
Now that's a good question. That I don't know.
We don't know. Okay.
I don't
My
know.
bad.
And I won't say
We
we
should-
don't know. I'm saying I don't know.
Oh, you don't know.
Yeah.
You're a
I don't
doctor.
I don't know neither. Like
You
I
don't
said, I'm
know?
just gonna let the story ride out and see what's what. So
No,
with
I
that
mean,
said,
it's okay.
Dog, I'm already
Thank y'all for
seeing
that.
what's
Thank
what.
y'all. Y'all helped me out because I
No
didn't know
doubt.
enough about.
no doubt.
I've seen what's
It's
up.
all good.
It's sad. It is sad. Don't ask why people don't come forward when they are being abused because they will not be believed, dog. You could be famous, beautiful, all of that. Niggas will still call you a liar if it's a man that they like. If it's a man that they go up for, no, you bitches be lying. Bitches be lying. That's it. That's a
All right.
whole mantra out here. Bitches be lying. Jesus
Well,
Christ.
let me get out of here so y'all get back to the news. Peace.
All right, I got another story to pull up real quick.
Pull it up.
Pull it
Thank you,
up, pull it up.
remixers. Y'all come on in, give us a thumbs up. I'm gonna cover the Megan Thee Stallion trial on my show Friday. I haven't said much about it because I'm just kind of keeping an eye on it. But Jesus, what I'm seeing is just mad disappointing. It is mad. It's confirming and disappointing very much at the same time. It's very sad to see. But what's your story, Kamau? My apologies.
So no. I love that analysis, whatever like that. So, I was going to tie this in a little bit with the Stop Cop City thing, but the U.S. Postal Service honors the late civil rights leader, Representative John Lewis, with a stamp. So now it's time to bring out the stamp. And this is, remember, John Lewis, who everybody's praising for getting into some good trouble, which meant civil disobedience, direct action, breaking laws, getting arrested. So he gets praised, and other people get domestic violence charges. But obviously he gets praised 40 years later and after his death.
That's right.
So John Lewis here is given a stamp. Everyone's jumping up and down. Says civil rights giant and former U.S. Rep. John Lewis, who spent decades fighting for racial justice, will be honored with the postal stamp next year. In a Tuesday announcement, the U.S. Postal Service said the stamp celebrates the life and legacy of the leader from Georgia who risked his life protesting against segregation and other injustices in the violent Jim Crow era South. So, again, I like when these type of stories happen, the phrasing, the media narrative. So this was not just the Jim Crow South, that there was violence against Black people, even though, yes, that's the chief place where segregation de jure in law was written. But just to be clear, this was the United States of America, where violence against Black people was happening and is happening. Lewis spent more than 30 years in Congress, steadfastly defending and building on key civil rights gains that he helped achieve in the 1960s, even in the face of hatred and violence, as well as some 45 arrests. I do give all praises due to someone who would get arrested, obviously not out of choice, 45 times for what they believed in. I don't care what I think about his politics and the rest of it. That is one hell of a commitment and somebody deep in the struggle 45 times to get arrested for stuff that you believe in. Lewis remained resolute in his commitment to what he liked to call good trouble. And wrapping it up, it says in March 1965, then 25-year-old Lewis led a march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge from Selma to Montgomery, along other civil rights leaders, including Dr. King. The peaceful protests calling for equal voting rights came to be known as Bloody Sunday after Alabama state troopers descended on the nonviolent demonstration. And of course, they have to make sure they say it's nonviolent. Demonstrators in a brutal attack that left Lewis with a cracked skull. So yeah,
But
so they
was
give
it
it.
non-violent though? I mean, wasn't the police very violent? That's odd. I always find that framing very odd. Like it was a non-violent protest, but people got beat the fuck up. Well, was it non-violent then?
Yeah, it wasn't non-violent for
brought
them.
the violence? let's be clear as to who brought the violence to the protest.
Yeah, it's always the case where it's never violence. Well, the only violence that's allowed usually is obviously the violence of the police. If you're a protester or organizer, you have to explicitly state that you're involved in non-violent action, because if you don't, you will get pillarized in the media, right? You will get talked about. If you talk about any right to self-defense, any right to not just go cool, calmly if being attacked by the police, anything that you do that's outside of the purview that's acceptable, you are then labeled a perpetrator of violence and so forth. And if you're a right winger, it's every day is any day. You can do any goddamn thing you want.
Anything.
Guns, take over buildings, bomb,
shoot at the
people,
cops,
shoot at the cops, and then you always got a chance of getting off. There's so many of those crackers that got off. You got the Rittenhouse dude running around. You had the other folks connected to in Nevada. I'm forgetting the Bundy crew.
Bundy's.
I was like, there's always, and that's what they was like. There's always a chance we're going to get off. Most of those who've had any convictions in the January 6th takeover, a lot of the convictions have been meaningless in terms of time spent or whatever. So they know that violence is reserved for the police and for them. But if you're on the left of the spectrum, or if you're black, you better say you're peaceful. Otherwise, again, you're going to get torn apart in the media, and you're going to get charges, particularly if you are from the left and again black. You're going to get charges that amount to domestic terrorism. So I should know, the folks who got charged with that, all of those folks were white folks, but it's their politics that also got them that charge. So yeah.
Well, I hope it's their whiteness that'll get them off. They politics got them in trouble, but they show up white with the right haircut, with the I'm a good white person. You know what I'm saying?
If I was their lawyer, that's the first thing we're going to do. To be honest, it's the first thing.
Haircuts.
Because the jury pool is not going to be made up of anarchists. The jury pool is going to be made up of these middle class white folks. They're going to be made up even of like older black folks who are going to look at you a certain way if you're not cleaned up. So yeah, the first thing is defense attorney. I don't care what the politics are. What you do is you tell your client, you know what? Can we cover up that face tattoo somehow? And it may not be fair, but that's what folks do. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is, it's like, I urge you to bathe today. And
Dog, that's the time. Listen, we could throw respectability politics out of the window any other time except for court appearances. You know what I'm saying? And you got to please show up as respectable as possible, please. We're trying to keep you out of jail.
Exactly. As soon as you walk out, you can. And I mean, there's sometimes there's errors, of course, when people have political trials, but that was the energy was, we try to get that energy back again. But folks, when doing that error where like left challenges to mainstream, not only corporate entities, but mainstream politics and the political system, meant that you potentially could have a different outcome. But those days have been smashed. And so until we get those days back again, those days just it don't matter in the courtroom. I'm not usually in the chat this much, but someone said shave everything, right?
What, bathe every day?
They say shave everything.
Oh, yes. Wear long sleeve shirts, cover up them tattoos, collared shirt. Yep. ponytail.
Mhm.
If you got glasses, wear them.
Wear your glasses. Wear your glasses.
Get your grandma's cardigan. Yeah, we got to show up nice and shiny and respectable for court. Check your email, Kamal. I zipped you some more stories.
I got him.
Also, let me ask you this: like, referencing back to the stamp really quick. You know, if y'all gonna honor me with something, can you put up a picture of me when I was younger? Like, and that's not a diss to John Lewis. And you know, he earned all them wrinkles, but you know, he didn't always look like a Sharpay. You know what I'm saying? Like he used to be a little cutie. Put a cute picture up. Don't put me.
You want the young pick? You want the young pick?
Yeah, don't put me when I'm on my way out. Put me up when I was, moisturized and had, my skin was, yeah. So anyway, that's just my little.
Okay, I got 3 stories for you. Which one you want to hit on?
Let's go with the first one. I thought this was a interesting story. I have a couple stories here. I got so many tabs pulled up, but
I
there
was
was
going to say, which one is the first one now?
CBS News.
Got it. 30 years worth of evidence.
30 years worth of evidence, Kamal, up in flames as a result of a fire at the NYPD storage facility. There's some question. Is there a video package accompanying this? I see a commercial playing on my tab here.
I see a commercial on my tab too.
But the evidence including DNA and items collected from crime scenes dating back up to 30 years ago have been destroyed in a 3-alarm fire that overtook a New York City Police Department storage facility in Brooklyn.
This fire at this location, you showed that video of the massive flames coming out of the building, and the FDNY says nearly 150 fire and EMS personnel were at the scene. We're told there were at least 8 people injured, including 2 civilians and 6 members of fire and EMS, but thankfully we're told none of those injuries are expected to be life-threatening. Thick black smoke shrouded Brooklyn throughout the day, seen far and wide.
I live right here on Dyckman Street, and the smoke is, it was bad. This afternoon, earlier, it was real bad.
This building, used by NYPD to store evidence, caught fire around 10:30 this morning, according to officials.
We have about 14 members of the service who work here, and we did have some outside contractors here, about 6 contractors. The contractors went into the warehouse to start performing their task, and they observed the fire.
But there were challenges to putting it out. The FDNY says the metal building partially collapsed at one point as they moved to an exterior attack from the street, the air, and the water.
We also are using our drones in the air to pinpoint where we have the fire so we can move around the boats to extinguish all of the fire that's possible.
This building was used to store dozens of e-bikes and a variety of vehicles as evidence. They were also storing a large volume of biological evidence, DNA, items from crime scenes. But the NYPD says rape kits were not kept here.
The evidence goes back a long time, 20, 30 years. Some of the evidence was also from Sandy.
While we still don't know the full extent of this damage, officials believe most of the items in this space are likely destroyed.
This fire is probably going to go on for a few days by the time we're able to fully extinguish it and get inside, possibly to, get to the deep-seated areas.
The heavy smoke throughout the day caused concern for some in the area.
I have to be concerned and more careful because, I got elderly parents, and that smoke is going to be lingering.
The NYPD was very clear that this was not a location where they brought cars that were towed for traffic violations, so the public doesn't have to worry about that. But they are calling this a loss for the department, and it's still unclear how this would impact ongoing crime investigations. We're live in Red Hook, Brooklyn. Dick and Dana, back to you.
Dick and Dana.
I know how it's going to impact. There's going to be some people being released. Being like, so the question becomes, how did the fire get started?
Mm-hmm.
Because if it got started the way I would assume it got started.
How do you assume it got started, Kamal? With matches?
I assume so.
With a lighter?
I'm assuming somebody had a good plan. They were like, I'm going to get me the fuck out of here. So without certain evidence, there will be a lot of cases that'll have to be thrown. If there's current evidence, particularly current cases, they said a lot of this was stored evidence from old cases. But if there's evidence in there of ongoing cases where people are potentially on trial at, this could lead to a lot of different cases being thrown out unless they have some duplication of that evidence someplace else.
But on the flip side, I also see the potential for people potentially not being released because evidence that may have been collected or maybe not tested properly or for whatever reason wasn't admitted, during the course of their trial, but potentially is stuff that could exonerate people may have gone up and spoken.
Well, that's true
also.
too. That's true too. That's potential. I mean, and if it's biological evidence, it means there are some things that they may be able to retake. But usually if there's evidence around, depending on where it's at in the trial stage, I guess we should say, evidence is supposed to be turned over to the defense side before trial, so that could be examined and used, particularly if it's evidence that could lead to exoneration. And so if that's happened, and that's all good for those folks. If it hasn't happened, then those folks you're right, like there's potentially other troubles. But if evidence was destroyed, period, the more likely outcome, whether good evidence for them or not, is that the district attorney's office, the prosecution, won't have whatever information it claims it needs to go forward. So there potentially could be a lot of cases, if this was, as it seems to be, a main warehouse where evidence was stored, there could be a lot of dismissals that'll have to take place because of this.
It was interesting that the reporter specifically said that evidence from rape cases were not impacted. Like there was biological evidence destroyed, but it was not evidence from rape cases. That sounds like a lie. That sounds like a lie. Like, oh, but don't worry, none of the rape cases. Well, why would rape evidence be stored separately if all the biological evidence, and I'm not saying that all of NYPD's biological evidence was there, but why would the rape cases be separated out from other biological evidence in other cases? I mean, it just sounds like a lie. It just sounds like something that, oh, don't worry, but no, actually, no, the shit all got
you're worried just in case.
No, I bet you we'll find out in several weeks, actually. But actually, in fact.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, huge amounts. That's a huge warehouse in Red Hook, Brooklyn, that burned down. Again, like I would check and see, I'm not saying they should, but I would, what so-called mafia don is on trial, or what big case, because that's a big building to burn.
Yeah, no, it
I'm not
really
mad
is.
at him, just saying it's a big building. Speaking of somebody who never burns anything except for trees.
Big building.
Oh, nice.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, how's this one right here, Kim?
What's that?
They should have used this picture right here, John Lewis.
Yeah, thank you. With his mugshot. That's the picture, please. That's the picture that should be on his stamp. Absolutely. Totally. With him holding his plate and everything. Like that's the real boss shot right there.
Speaking of, you got a mugshot? You ever get a mugshot? Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, yeah. I know Kamal has. I ain't even go ask him. But yeah, that's what it is. Let's go ahead and get to our next break.
Yeah.
I'd like to see your mug. Listen, my mugshot wasn't, cute, but if I had a cute one, I'd have it on my wall. To be perfectly honest,
I don't think I got a copy of mine.
How do you get a copy of your mugshot?
Usually, it's released. These things are public information. That's why these newspapers always have, part of these newspapers that are really trying to point to crime or use crime as a way to sell their newspapers. They have these mugshots of folks because those are things that are released publicly.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Well, let's see what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a quick break right here on the Remix Morning Show. So go ahead and use the bathroom or stay around and get down with the get down right here. Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and I came to bring you another artist spotlight. This is what we do. We show respect and give flowers to those that contributed to the culture. Now, who am I going to talk about right here, right now? No other than D-Train. Oh, y'all remember that right there? And then it came in like, y'all ready for this? Keep on. Hey. Keep on. Higher ground. That was my joint right there. But yo, let me tell you about D-Train real quick. D-Train was actually a duo. It was two of them. They dance and R&B charts. They hit it back in the 1980s. They had 3 big singles that hit the top 30 in the UK singles charts. But first you had James D-Train Williams, and on keyboards you had Hubert Eves III. Now they was the duo that got together, and they actually took James D-Train's middle name and started D-Train. But before that, Herbert Eves was performing with Matume. Y'all know Matume. That was another R&B funk band that came in and did their thing in the 80s. But they hooked back up, and then they came out in 1991 with this joint right here. You're the one for me. You're the one for me. That was my joint too. But this right here, this hit the hot dance club party charts and tore it down in the 80s. So these 2 songs right here, Keep On, You're the One for Me. And also they did a cover version of Burt Bacharach and Dionne Warwick's Walk On By, but it was more like the Isaac Hayes Walk On By. So these are the like 3 big singles they're known for. In 1983, they released another album called Music, and then they followed up after that with 1984 with Something's On Your Mind. So they put out 3 albums: You're the One for Me, Music, and Something's On Your Mind. But as we know, You're the One for Me, Keep On, and Walk On By were they 3 bangers. So you can probably hear like one Keep On Notorious Big, Sky's the Limit. Yeah, so they got to sample that. Yo-Yo also sampled a little D-Train. So big up to D-Train. If you don't know, now you know, baby, baby. On fire, down out now. You're the one for me.
Thank you for that, Ear Doctor. I have been wondering for a long time who the artist was, and I did not know it was D-Train, but because that's the song "Sky is the limit," and you know that you keep on, keeping on.
Yes.
What a bop! Woo! And they British too. I had not a clue that they were.
No, not British.
British.
Nah, they just blew up. A lot of dance music blew up in the UK before it hit.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no. British.
Nah, they straight from Brooklyn.
They're not British.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, because
Now-
you said the British chart, so I just assumed.
Yeah, a lot of dance music blows up over there before it blows up over here. So, you know. They
Happens
like
to a
to
lot of
dance.
black music, right? That's how
Exactly. They like to dance over there.
Yeah, they like black
So-
music too.
And they study.
Who
They
don't?
study.
Then they take
Well, yes. Something like that. Thank you for that, Ear Doctor. I needed that because I have wondered for a long time. I don't even know the name of the goddamn song. What's the name of the song? Is it Keep On or Sky's the Limit?
It's Keep On. Keep On is that song, and the other one is You're the One for Me. That one. So that's what it is. That's what I'm here for, man. The Ear Doctor rocking you. I'll catch you on the next break, or maybe not.
Why you say maybe not?
Oh, he said maybe not. That fool better come back.
Okay.
So we had such a great time. I got all your stories pulled up. I was just gonna say real quickly, we had such a great time raising money yesterday. I appreciate everybody who gave. Y'all hit them streets hard. Y'all hit them streets hard yesterday, and it paid off. Y'all a little light in the pocket today, though. Y'all a little light in the pocket. I'm gonna leave it alone because I know the break is coming up soon. You know, Christmas is coming up. I'm just saying it's a little light in the pocket today. That's all I'm throwing out.
Don't you love the way Kamau motivates us to go out there and walk that green mile? Go out there, girl. Walk that green mile. It's a little light today. I know it's raining.
You got an umbrella, don't you? You got an umbrella, don't you?
Might be a little tough, but you put your mind to it, girl. You can go out there and make all the money, baby. Bring in all the money for the platform. That's what Kamau. One of your past lives. Pimping is in your blood, clearly. I'm glad you have used your powers for good now, but Jesus. I try. There's a pimp in that motivation. There's some elements of pimping in there. Let's go to Detroit.
Detroit one? I got that pulled up.
Speaking of environmental actions, we had an action out there in Detroit. I was trying to find some video, couldn't find it, but the Detroit Metro Times covered this. So protesters to gather in Detroit neighborhood to oppose a concrete crushing plant. Now, we know that a lot of industrialization gets shoved into our communities, which thereby worsen our health outcomes. Black neighborhoods have higher rates of asthma, exactly for this kind of shit, for concrete crushing plants put in our neighborhoods. Please, who just sent me something? Oh, thank you for that. So, due to Detroit City Council, many residents are stuck playing a waiting game. Okay, we lose. We love French words here in the Metro Detroit, even if most of us don't pronounce them correctly. Okay, a phrase is being a phrase I've been thinking about a lot. Has to do. Am I reading the right fucking article?
No,
here?
I don't think. I was like, what are you reading right now?
I'm sorry. How did I get here? Maybe
I don't know. I'll start reading a little bit. I'll read until you get ready.
Go ahead.
It says activists say the proposed facility at 4445 Lawton Street would create dust, noise, exhaust, fumes, and other chemicals within a block of a school, church, and an urban farm that provides food to more than 500 people in the core city neighborhood. One activist said this is environmental racism. One person said this is environmental racism. Vanessa Butterworth, who lives a few blocks from the site, it says this is a majority Black and low-income neighborhood. And time after time, the developer says the area is vacant and that no one lives here. There are hundreds of people who live a block away. They literally don't see us. And it says the protest begins outside the site at 2 p.m. and will include State Senator Stephanie Chang of Detroit and Detroit City Councilwoman Gabriels Romero, Santiago Romero. And then quickly, another statement is, I stand with the residents and neighborhood leaders of Core City who have serious concerns about locating a concrete facility on Lawton Street in such close proximity to neighborhood residents. We need to make sure that we protect the public health and quality of life of Core City residents who have done so much to revitalize the neighborhood. This is a statement from the State Senator Chang.
Stephanie Chang, representing the Detroit City Council. Okay.
Ooh. It says the plant would also bring 50 to 60 exhaust spewing dump trucks to the site a day using roads that are literally crumbling, Butterworth says. Something else the neighbor pointed out. So yeah, this is really a toxic environment they're trying to put over there.
And what neighborhood? I'm sorry, because I was looking at the reader view and it took me to a whole different story. That's why I was like, what is this going on? Did they
here it says the core? It says in the Core City neighborhood.
Core City, okay. And I think Detroit is also one of those areas, like I mentioned, where health outcomes for Black residents are worse, particularly when it comes to air quality. And we know the long-standing issues that have been going on with the Detroit water system, with residents there being billed exorbitant amounts for water that is oftentimes not of good standard of quality of use. So while they poison the water in Detroit and in Michigan for Black residents, now the air continues to be further, or the attempts are trying to further make the air quality there worse. So I'm glad to see that the people came out to protest against it. And we have some elected officials also there standing up for the residents, some members of the Detroit City Council. So that's a positive thing.
That's real. And, Community Movement Builders has a chapter in Detroit. And so we do organizing that includes, we have actually 2 community houses. One is already open. One is being built. And we just purchased a 3rd community house. You can buy a house in Detroit for $20,000, $25,000. And then we're fixing it up so that we can, again, have activists live in some of the houses. And one house is a community house that has events. It's going to have a coffee shop in it. It's going to have a whole bunch of stuff. Our lead organizer out there is Brother Yusef Bunchy Shakur. And so Detroit has a lot going on. It's downsized tremendously since the Great Recession. And the gentrification, which is happening all over the country, is starting to creep into Detroit. But Detroit is such a black city that it's going to take a long time. Unlike Atlanta, Detroit is a really black city. So it's going to take a longer time to really push black folks out at the core. But there's a lot of black folks who are organizing, who are trying to retain their community, who are doing good work, including some of the folks I just mentioned. So all power to Detroit in terms of trying to fight back against the environmental racism that's happening, and all the different aspects of white supremacy that is brought upon our cities throughout the country.
I wonder. Well, I kind of know why. I was about to answer my own question. I'm like, you never see these kinds of actions in white areas. I guess because it never even gets to that point.
We don't get to that point, exactly.
Like they take care of that in the zoning process. The white folks show up at the zoning and they say, "Ain't no fucking way, dog. Don't even think about putting that shit over here." So they don't never need to show up to protest against the building of it because ain't no possibility it's going to get built. They have nipped.
You're right. They don't even got to show because actually their politicians already know. Right? They're already there's like that. Just like you are not putting that. You know where you're gonna put that? There's a city called Core City.
Core City.
Ain't nobody around there, right?
Right.
It's like if you can they get to say that it's always amazing how many times white folks say ain't nobody living around there when they want to take something. But when it's countries, land, all of a sudden it's depopulated. Somebody can walk right by you and it's just like ain't nobody around here. So in other words, ain't nobody who look like me around here. So therefore, we're gonna take all of this and do what we want to do with it. And that's why it takes so much for us, right? We gotta you go back to even the George Floyd stuff. All the public, it's just tiring for folks. I understand it. All the public protests we constantly have to do just to be treated like humans in this country. So big up to Detroit, folks.
Yes, thank you so much to Detroit, and thank you so much to everybody that's running us some bucks. Look at you, Kamal. You done talked it up.
Or even more than that, people that mentioned this the 15th of the month. People got paid today.
Marchese.
People got some checks.
Marchese. How you say this person's? How you say Marchese?
Dead Man Animations.
Oh no, 1999. She ran us some bucks. Thank you so much, and said, "Love y'all." And I get paid today, so here's my ties.
Holla. Holla. I'm not going to try to pronounce the name, but holla.
Marchese.
Know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. It's the 15th. 15th of the month. Yeah, I know y'all got $10 in the pocket, B. 10.
Oh, look at my good sis, Tina Lulu. Thank you, baby girl. We appreciate it. And on top of that, Tina Lulu's way out in the West Coast, so it's early as hell. Thank you, Ready Revolutionary. Come through.
You know what I'm saying? We need more. More. I was going to be nice about it, but now, you know what I'm saying? The rain is clearing up.
Uh-oh.
The clouds have receded. The sun's about to shine. And your ass is mine. You need to get out in those streets. And we need to rock a beat. Because we need that dough. So Baba can get some more. Holla. That's your eclectic, beautiful, loving poem of the day. Y'all appreciate it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, Daddy, I'm gonna put my shoes on. I'm going out there right now. You put my heels on. I'm going right there on the corner right now. I'm gonna be out there.
Don't you come back.
Don't you come back. With nothing left in the stack. I'm sorry, y'all. That's inappropriate, but y'all fucking whatever, man.
Leah.
We old out here.
Leah is, and Leah, you never told me she married. I called the Lee. I don't understand.
It's Leah.
I said Leah today.
Okay, good.
Oh. But she didn't give me the okay to put the pics up. Now she's embarrassed to be.
You met Leah? You met
Leah?
Leah?
She was in what's that city I was in? She was in your city, DC or whatever. So her name is pronounced Mara Sharice.
Thank you, Mara Sharice.
I know I stuttered over, but Mara Sharice, that's better. All right. Thank you, Mara Sharice.
Did Leah say you can't put her picture up?
She didn't say nothing. We took 2 pictures, and ever since I called to Lee, I feel like I haven't gotten a response to my question. So I'm gonna leave it alone.
I mean, I'm just saying, I've not seen people stumble over Leah so hard.
It came out fast.
Y'all have really had difficulty pronouncing Leah, which I don't get.
I said it fast. In person, I said Leah. Anyway, what's the next story we got going on?
Hey, real quick, Kim, I got some footage of Kamal getting some money.
Oh God.
Here we go.
Oh my.
7 women in the palm of his hand.
Uh-oh.
Willie D. Willie D. Got
Oh my.
for every man. Willie D.
Oh, no, not my coat, son. Get off my coat. What bad movie was that?
That was Willie Dynamite, one of the greatest movies ever. And that was your boy from Sesame Street.
Gordon?
Yes, that was Gordon. Yes, Willie Dynamite, one of the best movies ever. Willie D.
Is it really one of the best movies ever?
Yes.
Say that?
Listen, he did a lot of dirt, but at the end of the movie, he turned his life around.
Oh, he stopped being a pimp, is what you're telling me?
Yep, and he started working with the community.
And started working in community and founded community movement builders. He stopped
There it is.
He stopped pimping.
That's the story.
He stopped pimping and founded community movement builders, moved to Atlanta, got married. Willie D changed his life around.
Still got that coat, though. Still got that
got
coat.
that coat.
Got to bring that coat out when need be. That nice life with the matching hat. Ain't nothing like a fur coat with a matching fur hat, B. Ain't nothing like that.
Have you ever worn or owned either of those items?
I wore my mama fur coat one time just to see what it felt like. But that's the closest I can. I'm not a fur coat dude. You know who did wear a fur coat though was I don't know if I told y'all the story. What's the I don't know why his name is escaping me. But he was with the Nation, Ball brother. He had a brain aneurysm. Huge.
Khalid Muhammad.
So one time, just really quickly, one time in a restaurant, this was in Junior's downtown Brooklyn. We were young cats, and then we noticed off to the side. It was like, oh shit, that's Khalid Muhammad. You know, and we was all like, oh, that's Khalid Muhammad kind of thing. But you don't really know him, so we just like did that kind of like we eat, you stare, you eat, you stare. He was eating with his wife and his young child. And you know, Khalid, dark-skinned brother, bald head. His wife, dark-skinned sister, bald head. His son, dark-skinned young brother, bald head. So at the end of the meal, Khalid gets up. He puts on his long fur coat, all the way down to the ankles. His wife gets up. She puts on her long fur coat all the way down to the ankles. The young blood gets up. You know what he do? He put on his long fur coat all the way down to the ankles.
Yes.
I was like, you know what? It was both hilarious. It's the kind of thing. It's the kind of spectacle that unfortunately too much of us love because it was.
I love it.
Yeah, it was like I was both like and it was a little younger, so I was more like, all right, okay. I haven't seen that before, but yeah, that was hilarious. Anyway, let's get to one or two more stories as people continue to drop some dough
Listen, the family floor length furs is how I expect to see the Franklins stepping out this winter, man. I want to see the Franklins.
All the light skins. That's what I'm saying. He's light skinned. His wife was light skinned, and the kids were light skinned. They had all these fur coats. It was like a beige fur coat reunion.
Dee, baby girl, thank you so much. Dee says it's way too early on the West Coast. Yes, Dee, Northern Witch is joining us from the West Coast as well. Who else is that? I knew the F had to be Franny Francais. Franny French. We love Franny French. Got to give it up to Kamal. Yes. He brings that BK guilt real hard. Is it guilt though, or is it bullying, Franny French? I don't think it's guilt. New Yorkers have a way of separating you from their money, you from your money with their words. I don't know how it's done, but it's a skill. I think they teach it at PS 142, wherever the fuck they all go to school. They get to you got to learn how to speak the language. You gotta learn how to speak the Dun language and hustle all these country ends. Everybody who don't live in New York is a country end to New Yorkers.
That is true. We thought New Jersey was country. B. I went to Newark and I was like, yo, this place is country as fuck.
He went to Newark and said Newark was too country.
I thought Newark niggas was. I was like, this is country as fuck.
You need to relax.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Dog, come on. Now, if Newark is country, you know Trenton niggas might as well
Yeah,
might as well be from the plantation.
I did
Jesus.
feel that. I was just like, yo, what's going on with these cats? Anyway, what we got? I pulled up all your stories.
Go to that Reuters story. I was trying to find Indian news on YouTube, and again, YouTube, whatever this story is with the Twitter files and Twitter suppressing certain speech, trust and believe YouTube is on that same bullshit. Because I know I'll be looking for shit, and I'm like, this shouldn't be this hard to find it. But pull that up and read that to the people, Kamal, about India purchasing Russian oil for less than the price cap. Because we had talked about that months ago, that I had found that one story on Indian news, and I can't find it. I was trying to see if they had a video package, because India's on some next shit. India's not tripping off the US, it seems, these days.
India is one of those countries, and we'll read the story, where they are an so-called emerging market. They're obviously, like most of these countries, a capitalist market. But the amount, the sort of the disparity between wealth and absolute poverty is humongous. But their economy, as these things are measured, is starting to pump up. And you're right, India, because it is such a huge country, population-wise, land-wise. It is starting to, again, create a multipolar world system where it doesn't necessarily just heal to European demands about what it should do. But I think this particular story is about how they're actually buying money from the Russians that is below market cost.
Buying oil.
To meet the demands. Yeah, oil from the Russians. You want to read, or you want me to?
No. Go ahead. I'll see if I could find a video to accompany, but go ahead. Go ahead.
So it says Russia's flagship Urals crude has been sold at deeper discounts this month following a European ban on Russian oil imports, and dominant buyer India has bought barrels at well below a $60 price cap agreed by the West, 4 market sources said. The European Union ban on imports of Russia's seaborne oil from December 5th has driven Moscow to seek alternative markets, mainly in Asia, for about 1 million barrels per day. Also on December 5th, the group of 7 leading economies implemented a $60 price cap on Russian seaborne oil to try to limit Moscow's ability to finance its war in Ukraine. Russia has said it will not abide by the cap, even if it has to cut production. The Western actions have left Russian producers in fierce competition with each other and with the suppliers from Asia, Europe, and the Middle East, meaning their best hope of finding buyers is to lower prices, 2 traders said. And it says, since Russia began its invasion of Ukraine in February, India has become the main outlet for seaborne cargoes of Urals crude. For some deals this month, the price of Urals in Indian ports, including insurance and delivery by ship, has fallen to around minus $12 to $15 per barrel versus a monthly average of dated Brent, down from a discount of $5 to $8 per barrel in October and 10 to 11 in November, sources said.
So the EU, and I guess the US included, was trying to cap the max amount that Russians could sell their oil per barrel. And India bought it for cheaper than that?
Yes. So yeah, basically the India bought it for even cheaper than the cap, because I guess what Russia is doing, one is trying to offload its oil, obviously, to keep its economy afloat. And I think for them, putting pressure by not selling based on whatever the EU is saying, that means less oil to the EU. And I guess India, China are some of its biggest markets. I think China itself, though, is expanding and making deals and partnerships with Saudi Arabia. Obviously, they get oil from Iran. So, in this power play game, all these folks, even the allied folks outside of the Western camp, the Western imperialist camp, also do deals on each other and against each other, and whatever benefits them in their economy at the time. So one thing you can say, that even as there is a multipolar world developing, there is still the convergence of the West, at least for now, that is holding up. Whereas I think there is no sort of solid block alternative. Folks are mostly saying that they don't want to be harassed or put under the hegemonic hegemonic power of the West, but they've not necessarily developed their own bloc where they treat each other in a certain way that make sure that they're all staying afloat. So everybody's in the words we talked about earlier, everybody's hustling now to get to sell oil, to buy oil at cheap prices for those who are buying and for those who are selling for the most that they can get it for.
No, this is this is all going to be interesting to see how this plays out over the next few years, because as Europe is trying to, I guess, lessen its dependence on Russian provided oil, they're starting to build these liquid natural gas terminals in Europe, which they don't have presently, right? So they have liquid natural gas terminals all over the US and a lot of other places where the US exports its fracked oil or natural gas to places around the world. And fracking, just the most destructive practice, period, point blank, in addition to oil drilling, just a bad method of still getting out fossil fuels from the ground. But Russia still got the thing on lock. It's winter. it is winter in Europe, and those LNG terminals are not quite ready, so they still need to utilize the Nord Stream, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm hoping that these kinds of deals help to continue to strengthen whatever budding BRICS alliance that there could be, right? Because Russia, India, China, right there, all there together, I think that they could squad up and present a formidable challenge, I think, to Western powers.
I think the biggest thing that if they could create another SWIFT, right, another way in which international currency is traded, and or take the dollar off as being the currency that people kind of trade in or deal with directly, then I think that'll be a huge change in the power of Europe, not only in terms of setting prices, but their actual control over huge markets. So And at this stage, there's no reason except for testing it out why they probably couldn't create a dual system. They have enough in terms of population wise, other countries which would probably join on that to make sure that the sanctions of the West can't deter them from not listening to the West in terms of their foreign policy. So I agree with you. I think it's still a thing to be done that they've talked about for years. I think Brazil, particularly when it had a right-wing president for a little while, decided to pull back from BRICS in a major way. But now with Lula back in, maybe that will move them back into actually participating fully in BRICS. And again, BRICS is not, I think, just these four countries anymore, but Brazil, Russia, India, South Africa, and China. Well, 5 countries anymore. I think there's other countries who are sort of BRICS adjacent that could make them, a formidable economic bloc if they did exactly what you said. It was just to sort of like to build together and to create something.
Yeah, let Iran in. It could be double I BRICS, the BRICS. Yeah. No, I want to keep keeping an eye on Russian oil and the way it sells globally, because I think that's gonna that it's gonna be impactful as to what happens with the conflict in Ukraine, how well Russia is able to keep that up, because it seems as though the United States is willing to back Ukraine endlessly with money, with weapons. We worried about Ukrainian pensioners and trying to take care of their old people. What the fuck is going on here? But yeah, so America's in this for the long haul, tragically.
No, I think you are absolutely correct.
I don't know if I have another story. My other story I had, when I pulled it up on my phone, they put it behind a paywall. so shame on you, mercurynews.com, for putting your stuff behind a paywall, because it wouldn't let me read it.
You had the East Contra Costa cops allegedly?
Yeah.
Is that the one?
Yeah. See if it puts you behind a paywall if you click it.
Well, I have one from the that we did not cover. So the DOJ and the SEC charged social media influencers an alleged 100 million stock pump and dump scheme. So this might be slightly related to some of the stuff we talked about the other day, but federal prosecutors at the SEC charged 8 social media influencers in an alleged conspiracy in which Twitter and Discord were used to commit securities fraud. The separate criminal and civil complaints allege the defendants illicitly made more than $100 million. The scheme involving hyping interest in certain securities in order to raise the value and later selling shares at the artificially inflated prices, authorities said. So I'm looking to see if they're going to tell us who these.
Ooh, yes. Name
influencers
names
were.
and which stocks. I'm curious.
It says the 7 charged with securities fraud were also charged with conspiracy to commit securities fraud by the DOJ. Authorities allege the defendants used the social media platforms to manipulate exchange trade stocks in a scheme going back to at least January 2020. It says through widely followed. It sounds like they're not going to give us the names. It said through widely followed Twitter accounts, the stock trading. Oh, wait a minute. No, we have some names here. Anybody we recognize? And these are their Discord handles and their Twitter handles. We have a Danielle Knight, a Mitchell Hennessy, a Tom Cooperman, a Stefan Heverin, a Gary Dio. Are these popular people on these social media platforms?
Popular to somebody.
I guess so. It says each of the defendants had well over 100,000 Twitter followers. Well, they must be popular then. As of this month, the SEC complaint said one of those accounts, PJ Matlock, which is run by Texas resident Perry Matlock, who calls himself the CEO of Atlas Trading, no longer exists as of Wednesday. Well, I'm sure you're going to take that down after getting indicted. The other primary defendants accused security frauds in their Twitter handles, which they start to name. And they also point out that Daniel Knight is charged by the SEC with aiding, abetting, and by the DOJ with conspiracy in the alleged scheme, in part by co-hosting a podcast that promoted some of the primary defendants as expert traders. Authorities allege Knight also traded with other defendants and saw profits from the scheme. And then lastly, it says, disclaimer, my tweets are not recommended to enter a stock, ideas shared, Twitter, or not buy or sell, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they put those up after they tell you 1,000. It's like those drug commercials where they basically sell you on a drug, but at the very end, they have this whole stream of things in which they tell you that you shouldn't be buying. I mean, all the
explosive diarrhea.
Yeah,
you can have your eyeballs
suffer a heart attack.
Right.
So this is one of those kind of things where no matter what, they may put up some disclaimers at the very end, but all through the commercials, they're telling you about their expertise, what stocks to buy, how much money you're going to make. And so the scams are real. It's not just cryptocurrency, but it's the old school stocks, because the first cryptocurrency was the stock market. So y'all should keep that in mind.
So basically, these are regular stocks. This is not crypto stuff.
This is a regular stock market inflating, trying to get some stock prices to go up by talking them up. And then after everybody's purchased those, and they've already purchased the stocks, of course, at the previous price.
Low price.
Yeah, people, they talk them up, people buy, they sell when those folks are buying, they make their profit. Then, of course, the stocks go back and tumble.
They were able to garner $100 million worth of profits in less than 2 years. Because you said this began early in 2020.
Yeah.
So there's so much fake and real money out here, scam money out here. Trust me, everybody on the earth could be taken care of. There's so much goddamn money out here just being played with. I wonder how many of the people were black, because it sounds like so whoever got Hennessy in their handle, I'm assuming is black, right? I don't know white folks to go up for Hennessy as much as our people do. So whoever got Hennessy in their handle surely was a black person.
And who's taking financial advice over Twitter, B? I mean, if you're going to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars or thousands of dollars, whatever adds up to hundreds of millions of dollars in profits from Twitter.
From Twitter. I don't even see how this actually can stand up, because truly, is Twitter the platform that anybody would go to for financial advice? And I'm not defending the influencers here. They knew what they were doing, but I mean, this is what America is. America is a scam. America is a hustle. The goal is to not get caught in your scam in your hustle, but it's assumed that there are some levels, high, low, in the middle of scamming. Like there's just so much scamming going on in this country. And on top of that, I think Americans like to be scammed because they keep falling for the shit.
I think, people like the idea that if they do something quickly to make money, then that's going to solve all their problems, right? So I mean, I think we're ingrained now with that idea from how capitalism worked, that is, for everything from quick cash to long cash. But if we can do something to turn a dollar, we don't think it all the way through. You know what I'm saying? But speaking to somebody who always,
I thought he was gonna say scam, so I tried to beat him to the
try
punch.
to beat me. Yeah, no, I was gonna be nice.
Oh, word! It reminds me of that TV show Black Monday with Regina Hall and Don.
Yeah. I saw a couple of those episodes.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Real quick, I found another picture here. Did y'all see this one right here?
Yes. Put it back up there and keep it up there, please.
Why are we gonna keep it up there though? But why are we gonna keep it up there?
Now that was Photoshop. That's not a real picture, right?
No, that's him.
Oh, put it back.
You think that's me? Put that back up there. You put that back up there. What is wrong with your camera? Now, I think you don't want the screen off. How you gonna think that? I mean, it is the right complexion, of course.
Yeah, look how dark his chest is.
What do you mean? It's the same as the face. And in fact, my chest here probably is a little. Never mind, but
Word. Well, that's what it is, man. Another week. Right here before we reach into this next new year, and appreciate all y'all tuning in once again. Like we know,
doing the end of the year thing. I'm sorry, I'm my bad.
Yeah, we're doing the end of the year thing on the 23rd. So make sure y'all tune in. We all gonna come together.
Y'all
get
coming
on
back
screen.
next week too? It's not vacation.
Yeah, when are we breaking?
right after next week. Right after next week is when we
then
break.
Take a little break. All right.
Yeah, then we're gonna take a break into the New Year's and get everything right and come at y'all with some brand new this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? We need to regroup.
So we're having a holiday gathering. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Online?
Yeah.
Online, yeah.
Sure. We
you ain't
doing
flying nowhere, so I should say online, yeah.
Yeah, we doing the Kwanzaa style. You know what I'm saying?
True. Gangnam style.
Yeah, why not? All right, so that is what it is right here on the Remix Morning Show. We got 1 minute? All right, cool. Well, make sure y'all tune in to I Mix What I Like in the morning. Make sure y'all check out Warriors class on Saturday, and make sure y'all check out Sundays on Sunday at 8 p.m.
I know. I can't wait to see Diallo and Jared have another fight. I love it.
Ooh, we got a new show possibly and coming up too for the new year that we working on right now, y'all. So
hold on, didn't y'all say Hiram was supposed to be doing a show?
Man, listen. Podcast is it ain't for everybody. You gotta do this consistently. I've been doing podcasts at least once a week for the last 5 years. It's not for everybody. But hopefully we get Hiram on here.
That's what. So is that a yes or a no?
That's a maybe on Hiram. The show
maybe.
he's talking about is somebody else. But but he's a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, everybody loves Hiram. That's why when I heard y'all or somebody Jared mentioned that Hiram might be doing it, I'm like, oh shit, yeah.
We're trying to get him to put together a sports show, but we are looking for a good co-host.
Yeah,
looking for you do sport. You want to do a sports show?
Come on, dog.
You would do it.
Sports, yes. I mean, I'm not talking World Cup. I'm gonna leave that to the.
You gotta cover all the bases.
Nah, negative.
And from a political standpoint and the scores. Oh my God, I had no idea that you would do that. That'd be hot.
Yeah, I wanted to do sports before anything else, but I got derailed. I got distracted. I was led astray. But no, sports. I mean, yeah, I fuck with sports.
Well, let's get off this screen and talk about it. All right, cool. Well, we will catch y'all next week, everybody, on the Remix Morning Show. We out of here.
Peace.
Bye, y'all. See you.